Hey guys, welcome to the Dumb Things That I Bought for Backpacking 2024 edition. Some of these things are probably going to surprise you guys because some of them are items that you probably use, and everything is subjective because everyone has different opinions about things and different body types. And so not everything that works for one person is going to work for somebody else. So I'm going to start off with these High Talk Hike poles. Somebody in the city was selling these things for relatively cheap, and they're carbon, and they're very similar to, say, the Z-Pax poles and the other carbon poles out there. They are awesomely cheap if you're okay with not having straps, because these straps here do not stay the right length, and I cannot figure out for the life of me how to make them stay that way. You see how easily they pull through? Well, they pull super easily through the other way too. So you see that? I cannot get them to stay tight no matter what I do. And I originally bought these things for my kids. They were only $70 Canadian. So got them for them and had no idea that the straps didn't work until I broke my Z-Pax poles on the West Coast Trail. And my daughter didn't use her poles even once the entire trail. She just had them strapped to her pack. I really wanted her to have poles because on the West Coast Trail, you need to do a lot of balancing on roots and stumps and such. Apparently she didn't need them at all because she didn't use them, but I needed them because on day 3 or 4, I can't remember, I fell over on a log and went down hard on my pole and busted my Z-Pax pole right in half. So I had to use this one. And the problem is that you can't just put a knot in it because they're my kids' poles. And if I'm going to use them sometimes, we have different places we want to have our hands. So I can't just put a knot in it that it's going to be hard to get out. So I have to figure out some other solution. If you guys have any fancy solution you can think of for me to keep these things at the right length, please comment below and let me know. Because they're nice poles, nice cork grips, carbon, really lightweight. They are barely heavier than my Z-Pax poles. But for me, not very useful because I really like to use pole straps. So number 2 dumb things that I bought. These are the trail sandals by Zero Shoes. They are really light and they're great to throw on your backpack because they're light, but darn it, are they not painful when you're wearing them? And they're probably not the zeroest of zero shoes, but they're pretty skinny. You can feel every single rock through them. So these are okay if you're just gonna hang out in your campsite with them. But if you want to just go on a wee hike, or it's a little bit far to the bear locker, like it has been for us on a few trips, and one time I tried to take these to a 1 kilometer hike to a lake, it was actually pretty painful and they weren't awesome. Even when you're crossing streams and you're putting on your sandals, you can kind of feel all the sharp rocks through them. So these, I'm probably going to still keep using them just because they're light. But I have been considering just bringing my Eddie Bauer no flop flip shoes because they're just about as light as these. They're thicker. And if I ever had a shoe blowout and I had to wear my sandals hiking, I actually could, because with these, I would be hobbling and limping and it would be a miserable experience. In the shoe category, these are the Ultra Lone Peak mids. These are not the all-weather ones. I thought it was just the all-weathers that you had to size up on, but apparently you have to size up on these. These are actually wider than the Ultra Lone Peak regular shoes. I'm not sure if maybe they got mislabeled or something and they were a wide version, but they're definitely a little bit wider than my shoes, which isn't really the biggest problem. The biggest problem is they're too short. And I think I even got a size up. Yep, these are a US 9. Women's 9, and I really needed a 9.5. And I can't send them back because I've used them. And my daughter thinks they're ugly, so she doesn't want to use them, even though she's a half size smaller than me and she really could use them. So I guess I gotta try and sell them. And I have used them twice, so somebody's gonna get a really nice deal. These are the Vertex Alpine by Arc'teryx, and I know that these are favorites of a lot of people. I think I even saw these on Dan Durston's feet on one of his videos when he was showing his tent off to, I think it was Dan Becker. And that was one of the reasons that we bought them. I actually bought a pair for my hubby too, thinking they'd be really great. But you know what? I am so used to a zero drop shoe. My knees just don't like it when there's a drop. And this shoe, I think, says that it's a 7mm drop. And I know better. Like, I really know better. I really can't handle any more than a 4mm drop. And the other Arc'teryx shoes that I have are about a 4mm, even though they say they're 7mm on the website, they're not. These ones say they're a 7mm and these really are. I actually went for a run in them. I did an 8K run in them. No idea why I wanted to put myself through that torture. It was severe torture because my knees were crying the entire time. And they're actually too stiff. Like, I don't like a super stiff shoe anymore. Maybe if I was scrambling, they'd be okay. Still, the drop is not great for me. So these aren't awesome for my knees. So I'm going to try and decide what to do with these. I might try them on a scramble once, or I may just sell them. So somebody's probably going to get a good deal on these too, because they have been on one 8K run. And they're beautiful shoes. They're pretty. And I tried them on in the store, and they're super comfy when you're just standing in them. And I'm sure that they're amazingly comfortable for most people, because most people are totally okay with the 7mm drop. And if they weren't, then Arc'teryx wouldn't make them, right? So Arc'teryx, this is a plea to you. Please make a 0 drop shoe. This shoe, 0 drop, would be amazing for scrambling. Please just make a 0 drop shoe. Like everybody makes like a 4mm drop shoe, even Salomon. And Salomon, I think they own Arc'teryx now. So I don't understand why Arc'teryx isn't making a low drop shoe. They're really missing out on part of the market. Next up is the Flextail Tiny Repel. I think I showed you guys this in my 2023 video, and I said it will remain to be seen if this is going to get on the dumb things list for 2024, because we'll see if I actually use it. And I didn't. We took it with us on several trips, and we never ever used it. The reason I bought it was because we were at Landslide Lake and the bugs were so bad. They were unbelievable. And I've been there since, and the bugs weren't as bad, and I've never had a horrible bug experience like that since. And this thing is heavy. Will I take it with me when I go back to Landslide Lake? Probably. Will I use it? It's remain to be seen, but so far I have not used it at all for 2024. Next up is my Flextail Zero Pump. This is an amazing little concept. I have the tiny pump, and I love the tiny pump. I didn't even use this thing once, and the reason is my tiny pump still works, and it works great, and I love it. And I heard that this thing doesn't blow up your mats to full capacity. It doesn't have enough power. And so I've been reluctant to even take it out and try it, because reliable sources say that it doesn't blow up your pad all the way. And I like to blow my pad up all the way. So most likely I'm just going to sell this thing, and I'm going to get the new version of the tiny pump for absolutely no reason whatsoever, because my other one still works. And why do I keep buying gear? It's because I'm trying to rate the gear for you guys. Next one is the Switchback. As you can see, it's still in the box. Now, if my husband could somehow convince me to winter camp, which he is trying to do, he's looking at hot tents, then maybe I'll use this thing. I am not going to take it with me if I'm just going on a summer camp. And as you can tell, I have not winter camped. Now that I have new skis, now that I'm doing some backcountry touring, likely I'm probably going to do some longer tours, and likely I'm going to be hitting huts along the way. So I probably still won't use this thing, but we will see. There may be some hot tent videos in the future, because my husband is getting pretty serious about buying one. He wants a hot tent and a titanium wood stove. So we will see. And next item, which might be a big surprise to some of you, is the Beta Light. This is the larger Beta Light. I tried this, and I thought this was going to be the next most amazing backpack, and I thought for sure that I was going to absolutely love this thing. And it's not a bad pack. Like, there's literally nothing wrong with it. It's great. It does everything you would want it to do. It just wasn't for me. And one of the reasons is because there isn't any padding in these straps from about here down. And I just could feel everything through here, my bottles and everything. And I didn't like that very much. And I couldn't put my camera clip on it. And these pockets were a little bit too small. Just a number of silly, piddly things. And I really didn't like that it had only one water bottle pocket here, and over here is a zip, and it's not a water bottle pocket. I live in the Canadian Rockies, and we have grizzly bears here, and I really have to have my bear spray somewhere accessible in the front. And if it's not in the front, then it has to be on my belt. You can't really put it on the belt here because the belt is a big belt. So you have to have it up front. You could put it on the side. You could even put your water bottle on the side and your bear spray up here. I like to have my water bottle and my bear spray in front. And that's just a me thing. Wouldn't affect somebody else who likes to put their water bottles in their side pockets in the back. The side pockets are easily accessible in the back. And if you're that kind of backpacker that likes your water bottles on the side, this pack would be perfect for you. But for me, it just didn't work out. So this one is for sale. If anybody wants a Beta Light, let me know in the comments below. And here's another one that people are probably not going to agree with me on. This is the Nemo Moonlight Elite chair. I spent a lot of money on this chair, and I had really high hopes for it. I gave into the YouTuber hype. Everybody was hyping it up. I have not taken this out into the backcountry yet, but I have set it up in my kitchen and I have sat in it. Right away, I could tell that on the back of the chair here, on either side, pokes into my back. And that's the one thing that Steven from another channel, I can't remember the name of his channel, but I'll put it down below here. He mentioned that, and unfortunately it was too late for me because I already bought it. It sticks into my back on either side. So this chair is really made for people who are a lot skinnier than me, who don't have a broad back. And the other thing is these poles go into these things and you have to push hard to snap them in. And it's kind of a pain in the butt. Like, look at how hard I have to pull to get them apart. Like, why reinvent the wheel? My other chair that I have and every other chair that I know about just has a little pocket here that the poles slip into. And it's just a lot easier than that. So I'm going to take this in the backcountry. I'm going to try it out. I'm probably going to be real grumpy because my chair is so important to me for comfort in the backcountry. And if it's sticking me in the back, it's not going to be great. The other thing that I found was even when it's not in recline mode, there's not enough difference between recline and sitting upright. I found that it just didn't sit upright as much as I wanted it to. So that was a little bit annoying for me. But I will take it out there. I will try it out. And who knows, one of my skinny kids might be getting the chair instead. I do really like this concept here of the platform that it sits on to help it not sink in the sand. Being the bag, that's really great. Obviously, it's not waterproof. And if the chair gets wet, but that's not really that big of a deal because the whole chair is mesh. So if the chair gets wet, it's probably going to dry super fast anyway. But nothing like sitting in a wet chair after you put on your dry clothes at camp. So I'm probably going to have to put it in a Dyneema bag anyway, like the Dyneema bag that I have for my other chair. But the whole thing is very finicky and just takes a lot more time to set up and tear down. So we'll see how long this lasts before it gets sold as well. So thanks so much. And if you bought something that you haven't used or something that was really dumb this backpacking season, then let me know below. As always, thanks so much for watching and we'll see you in the next video.